St. Davis came out, let everybody know Brian Norman Jr. is the real deal. And I'm hearing a lot of well, I heard it after the fight as expected, but I'm hearing a lot of people questioning abilities and just a whole bunch of stuff around it's crazy. Brian Norman Jr. got a lot of criticism around him right now as far as what he ain't did in boxing. And I'm gonna be honest with you. Unless these guys' name are Devin Haney, none of these guys have really done anything yet. Let's be real. What's up, John? What's going on? Yeah, he was praising him after the fight. He Yeah, he the real deal, man. Brian the real deal. People out here trying to say the knockout wasn't a real knockout. They saying Hazaki hit his head and uh, that caused a knockout. I tell you, bro. They said the knockout. They trying to basically discredit the knockout like it wasn't a real knockout. Shout out to John too, man. What's going on? Yeah, Tank praising Brian Norman Jr. He know what time it is. They sparred before, so he knows what time it is. He letting everybody know right now. Yeah, Tank letting everybody know right now. He knows what's about to happen. Yeah, he knows what's about to happen. Everybody else can talk like, man, what has Brian Norman done? Or I'm hearing a lot of criticism, especially the knockout. I'm hearing people talking about punching behind the head uh, and he posted Trump before his fight, but he didn't post about him after he lost. Shaking my head. Yeah, he ain't say nothing after he lost last time. He don't usually say nothing about people after they lose. I know when AB lost, he didn't say nothing. He usually don't say nothing when somebody lose. Yeah, unless it's Haney or somebody. If it's Haney, he gonna say something. Anybody else? Nah. Yeah, if it's Haney, he gonna say something about him. For sure, for sure. But yeah, a lot of people don't want to give Brian Norman Jr. his credit though, as far as the win over Sasaki. They talking like Sasaki was trash. He wasn't a good fighter. I'm hearing the knockout wasn't real. I'm hearing people saying he was punching behind the head. Uh, he was getting outboxed a lot in the fight. He said, "What you think about that fight?" It was all right. It wasn't that I wasn't impressed by the fight like that, to be real. Talking about the one between Tucker and Simpson, it was. I wasn't expecting anything special. It was all right. Um, do you think his career over? No, his career is not over, but um, he just got to redo some things. Like whatever he's doing, he got to change it up, switch it up. I feel like he's too big. Basically, he's putting on a lot of muscle, but it's not helping out him in the ring. So he probably need to cut back or something and get back to having some more speed instead of focusing on power because he ain't got no punch power like that to be loading up like he is on some of these shots. Nah, he's trying to load up against power punches every fight. That ain't gonna work. So yeah, nah, that's really just what it is. As far as career over, nah, because he's fighting tough guys. He ain't fighting no easy fight, so it's not like he fighting bums. But yeah, he got to switch it up though. I don't know if anybody else gonna tell him, but he got to change his body up a little bit. It's too heavy because the muscles he got, it ain't benefiting him. So he got to focus a little more on speed. Whichever way he was that got him to the point he's at right now, he needs to go back to that version of himself. So the heavy version that he has right now, it's not working. And the way he's fighting, I mean, what you gonna do? You gonna get out punched every fight and try to throw power punches and get touched up a lot? It ain't gonna work. Yeah, it's not gonna work. So that's how I kind of seen it, but especially after his last two fights, after the last fight he had when he lost on Pro Box, just when you try to fight toe to toe like that, it's not smart. And it was kind of lazy. It's like lazy boxing almost. Like, let me just try to walk through everything, save my energy to the. That's kind of how I look at it, to be honest with you. I could be wrong, but ain't nothing changed since, so I ain't been wrong about that. But I don't see no change coming as far as people saying the trainers and everything else, but it's on the boxer to switch it up though. It's on you as a boxer to switch it up. But yeah, I definitely don't think his career is over. But I didn't think the fight was gonna be super exciting because just the style matchup. It was. If you look at the styles, it's just too much of the same almost. I think the Lubin just punch output different, but I think the Lubin Holmes fight was always gonna be more entertaining than that fight because their styles a little bit different too, but it's not different to the point where it's gonna make it seem totally different from what Simpson is doing. You talking about? Oh no, no, he don't fight like Norman. I ain't gonna count to you. You talking about Simpson? No way. Nah, Simpson don't fight like Norman. Norman jabs too much. Nah, Simpson he don't jab enough to like that. And usually Norman start throwing power shots by the time he got somebody hurt already. Most of the time, Norman out there he boxing. He slipping punches, everything. Boom, going to the body, countering. Yeah, Norman boxing. When it gets time to shut it down, or he got these guys hurt and he walking through shots, he's at the point now where his body's starting to mature, so he's walking through a lot of stuff. So it kind of looks like no, no. I mean, you could be right. I see what you're saying. Nah, Truck used to box like that though. Nah, he used to box like that though. Nah, you're not lying. But the version he is right now, nah, he ain't jabbing enough. I'm talking about he's throwing nothing but he out there fighting like Pitbull almost. Pitbull throw a lot more punches though. He giving himself a chance. But yeah, shoot. At this point, a lot of these guys that's at that weight or around that weight, they punching like heavyweights almost. If you look at a lot of these 54s, 60s, 68s, they trying to box like heavyweights. Yeah, that never works. But no, I think a lot of people think that Norman's just a power puncher. But if you look at when he was fighting Centillion is a boxer. He's not just out there throwing a whole bunch of punches, but He went out there and stepped on Centillion. And I want to see somebody fight Centillion. A lot of people said Centillion's done. They say he cooked and he done. Well, I want to see a contender. Let's just say I'm a 47. I ain't got no name right now, or I don't got no height at 47. Okay, if you know Brian Norman just had a big knockout against Sasaki, you would go out there and fight Centillion. That's a guy who's available right now. If I'm a boxer or a manager, that's a fight I make. I bet nobody at 47 gonna fight that guy. He only got one loss, and they're gonna end up going out there going 12 rounds with him, 10 rounds, and it's not gonna be the same. Yeah, he was walking through gym, walking straight through. Yeah, streets going crazy right now. You ain't lying, John. John is not lying. The boxing streets is definitely in a frenzy. You got people out here talking about, man, that was just a Japanese boxer nobody heard of. First of all, there's no boxers in boxing that's knocking out taxi drivers like that. So that's not even a conversation to have right now. They're not even knocking out taxi drivers like that. Tank knows that. Everybody knows that. That's the reason why everybody had a reaction like that. It wasn't because it was a knockout. It was because people never seen that before. He dropped the guy with the first left hook. People saying that was behind the head, but he was literally across the ring from this guy when he threw it. I don't know how long your arm's gonna be if that's going on, but yeah, they know what time it is right now. Is anybody calling out Brian Norman Jr. right? I ain't heard nobody calling Brian Norman Jr. out. I heard last week after Hitchens' fault, Hitchens was calling out Devin Haney, and everybody was talking about 47. I'll move up, Conor Ben, and I ain't heard nobody calling nobody out right now. Y'all see, ain't nobody trying to fight Brian Norman Jr. We see what time it is. Nobody trying to fight him right now. And we got people out here talking about, oh, well, the knockout wasn't even that good, or it wasn't even a real knockout. Or okay, who else knocking people out like that then? We just seen other guys put people on the ground hundreds of times. I ain't seen nobody head bouncing off the ground and all this stuff that people talking about. Why your favorite boxer ain't doing that then? And he ain't getting called out right now. Basically, Tank just let me know, hey, ain't nobody finna call out Brian Norman Jr. A lot of these dudes scared. They already know what he on. They already know he been sleeping people. When he was talking to Boots, they know he was for real, but they don't want to say nothing. You see, they ain't been calling him out. You see that Teofimo Lopez turned out and fight last year. That man was talking to Teofimo Lopez and Boots at the same time, and everybody talking about, yeah, he just clout chasing. All right. And I'm gonna tell you right now, and this is no exaggeration. I'm gonna just say this, and I'm gonna read Mark Pinkerton's message. But I'm gonna just say this: I've seen everybody making a big deal about those little knockouts that Teofimo was getting on ESPN. So if I see some different energy around Brian Norman Jr., I know what time it is. I seen all those little knockouts that Teofimo was getting. He was knocking out nobodies, no names. You can't name 5 people that you know that he knocked out. He was knocking out no names, and everybody was acting like he was the next great thing in boxing, the next Roy Jones or something. But now this man gets a knockout like this, they want to discredit it. Okay, your integrity is on the line right now. We're gonna see if you really a fan or you really an expert. We finna see what's going on out here. Cause right now I see a lot of people turning into fans, bro. He said Centillion got brutally beaten too. Cuevas quit, or he was going to see a stretcher too. Norman's one nasty tough night for anyone. Absolutely, Mark. He's ridiculous. And I was saying recently, I was like, man, for some reason, I don't know why. And trust me, I wasn't just saying this because I heard people saying this before. But I was making a list of fighters. But I was like, recently, before the fight happened, I was like, I don't know why, but I think Brian Norman punches like a, because he did a George Foreman tribute. I said he kind of punched like a small George Foreman. Did y'all see as soon as he touched that guy with the left hook in the first round? Shout out to PD. What's going on? As soon as he touched that guy with the left hook in the first round, the dude fell. As soon as he touched him, boom, first left hook he threw, fell down. He said that Gary Russell said why Hitchens ain't called him out when he beat him in the amateurs. He want that smoke. I like that fight. Yeah, I want to see Gary Russell fight Puello though. If I was Gary Russell, I would be asking for the winner of Puello versus uh Sabril Matias. I'll be trying to get that rematch back. And I'm a huge supporter of Russell, but as far as on my end, that don't make a lot of sense. You know, Hitchens is available, so it does make sense. But if I would be in his shoes, I'd be saying, hey, I can fight Puello. Let me get that back. So I don't know what's going on with that one. Yeah, the dude, he seems okay now, PD. They say he was had memory loss the day of the fight. It said he had lost memory or something for. I thought it was. I didn't know if it was real or not, like memory loss. But yeah, he lost memory for like a month and a half or something. I couldn't understand what the dude was saying because it was in Japanese, but it was like a month and a half. He said Centillion was trained by Robert Garcia too. Yeah, he's trained by Robert Garcia. He just had a fight recently. I think he's fought twice since that Norman fight. I think he's still around 33, 34. If anybody still, before he Norman, he still went out there and dominated against Alexis Rocha. So I don't see a lot of guys at 147 calling him out, especially those small guys from 40 that move up to 47. I think that's a tough fight from I think that's a tough fight for like a Ryan or somebody. Yeah, I think that'll be a tough fight. Because people saying, Centillion is not that good of a fighter. I want to see how, from what I've seen, he's a good fighter. A very good fighter. So I don't know what everybody's talking about. The way he did Rocha, yeah, he's definitely a good fighter. That dude destroyed Rocha. He did Rocha almost worse than what Norman did him. So I don't know. Is not that good. I don't know, bro. I think you probably don't watch boxing. To be honest with you, anybody saying that they don't watch boxing. Straight up, they don't watch boxing. Or to say that about Suzaki too. Suzaki's only 23 years old. The only dude he lost to is the guy that beat the old man that stopped the old man that Rolly was struggling with. Yeah, the guy Suzaki, he fought Hiroka. Hiroka went out there. Hiroka one of the hardest punches in boxing. And he fought him at 19. I think Hiroka's 28 right now. So yeah, he has a nice resume right now. Yeah, he been stopped, but look who he been stopped by. Those are not bums he got stopped by. So yeah, they're gonna figure it out real soon. But Brian Norman, man, he's the real deal. And people don't really want to call him out right now. No names are calling him out. Ain't nobody calling him. All I hear people talking about right now, Brian Norman and Boots. Why he didn't take the money and nothing like that. And shoot, why Barrios ain't take the money? Why Stanley Jones got more money? I mean, that ain't even being talked about. So that conversation's over as far as that, bro. They know what's going on. They just trying to find things to nitpick at. But they ain't saying no names right now that'll beat up Brian Norman. I ain't heard nobody say, oh, this guy beat up Brian Norman. All I hear people saying is he ain't did nothing. It wasn't that impressive. I mean, they say that about everybody. So what? We got a whole bunch of people who never believe in people, not believing in somebody again. Oh, that's what y'all always do. Okay. He been knocking people out. My thing is, if he didn't knock the dude out like that before, and he does it again, so how many times you got to do it before you start believing in that he can knock people out? We got that going on right now. Yeah, they just ain't gonna want to believe. If they don't believe, they ain't gonna believe. They don't want to believe. All that. Oh, I got to see him against this person, and the knockout. He hit him behind the head, and all. Man, look, they don't want to believe. Period. I done seen it before. I've been seeing it. I'm gonna keep hey, keep picking sides and keep losing. Keep picking sides. You said, in my opinion, Jen is better than Barrios. I don't know how better than Barrios he is because Barrios ain't fighting no bums. You know, Barrios been fighting some good fighters, but he cracking. I know that. I know Jen Sasaki is cracking. Whatever punches he is throwing, I know they're hard. Anybody can see that. But one thing I do know about the Jen Sasaki and Norman fight is no fighters in boxing is knocking out anybody like that. Ain't nobody going to sleep like that. If Tank Davis said he's impressed, and all these other guys who ain't knocking nobody out is not impressed, they just hating then. I know what time it is. That let me know you a hater then. End of story. You ain't gonna call the man out, but you hate. And you're around his weight class. So yeah. A lot of guys gonna be exposed in a minute. Because in boxing, one thing I know about boxing, man, it's always gonna be a Brian Norman. It's always gonna be a Terrence Crawford. It's always gonna be somebody coming out of nowhere that's not on anybody's radar, that nobody's thinking about. He ain't got a Floyd Mayweather cosign or none of that. He just coming out here doing what he's supposed to with the same people he started with. So the fans who get all caught up in the glamour and who guys is calling out, if the contract real or not, bro, he knocking people out. All the other stuff people talking about, it is what it is. They in their feelings. He knocking people out. If your favorite fighter ain't knocking nobody out like that, please fall back. This ain't the time to be trying to jump in the middle and explain everything. Because I done seen guys bring up dudes from 40, from 30, 35, and ain't knock nobody out like that. These dudes done brought up guys from lower weight classes and couldn't knock them out like this. And we talking about a guy whose his hand was just hurt recently. Didn't he have hand surgery? So he knocked somebody out before he had hand surgery. He goes and has hand surgery. Then he knocks him out again like this. And we got people out here questioning whether he got power or not. Bro, are you insane? This man's sparring part. His sparring partners is tougher than some of these guys' fights. I just seen him sparring De Los Santos recently. So they can say what they want to say, but you know, Brian Norman Jr., he's coming. All this other stuff people talking about, it is what it is. They up in their feelings. I've been watching Boots more than 99% of these people, and that's a fact. Longer than 99% of these people. Even people from Philly, I've been watching Boots longer than. And that's for real. You can ask my brother. But one thing I know is, in boxing, you can pick sides all you want to. That ain't gonna stop Brian Norman Jr. from knocking nobody out. Yeah, guys can call out Terrence Crawford, but if you ain't finna fight all the people that Terrence Crawford was gonna fight at 54, it ain't no reason for me to compare you to Terrence Crawford. Whether that's Virgil Ortiz or Xander Zayas or Fandor or Tim Tszyu or Jaron Ennis or Charlo, it could be anybody. Is anybody making these big fights happen right now to the point where I need to be making a decision on what side I need to be picking? Ain't nobody doing nothing right now. So the young guy, he out here making flashy knockouts. And some guys ain't fought in 2 years. And people talking about what they gonna do. So you got a guy who's doing something, and you got other guys who's not doing anything, but people are running to co-sign them because of their name. Okay. 2025 is where these dudes with big names gonna lose their name. They're gonna be a small name. This is 2025 gonna be that year. Everybody who a big name gonna be a small name. Everybody gonna be regular. It ain't gonna be no managers, just straight employees. That's it. That's all that's going on. Because if you think that Brian Norman Jr., who's only what 24, this dude's only 24 years old, and people acting like he's the same age as the rest of these guys. These dudes is basically in college, and he's what an eighth grader compared to them. Bro, he's coming. I don't know if anybody knows it or not. He coming for all these dudes. The fact that he called out Jaron Boots Ennis and said, I want to fight him, and he called this much of an uproar, these dudes gonna be shook. They gonna hope he lose. Hey, this boxing, anybody can lose. I'm gonna tell you right now, one of these dudes gonna end up getting knocked out, or they're gonna end up avoiding this fight. They're gonna end up dropping belts. There's gonna be a lot of stuff going on over the next couple of years that people are not gonna be able to explain. Because I seen years ago, before people start knowing who Spence was, then when Spence had got a couple of knockouts, people was like, nobody can beat Spence. And I watched Earl Spence. I'm a fan of Earl Spence. Spence wasn't knocking dudes out like this. And everybody co-signed Earl Spence. And anybody can get on here right now and say that Earl Spence punching harder than Brian Norman Jr. Come on now. You know you capping. These fighters that come along, people say, man, we don't want to see fights, man. We want to see excitement and knockouts. That's what everybody been crying about lately. Anyway, going out there getting his head spinning around like a ballerina, but Norman going out there getting action-packed knockouts, and people complaining. That's why I said, bro. That's why I keep the same energy every week. These people out here pump faking, and they lying, they pushing narratives. You got to judge. Oh, well, anyway, man, he knocking people out. Y'all just don't know who the guy is. These people don't know nobody at 147. As soon as somebody's name pop up, they call him a bum. That's the crazy thing to me. Like people call Jeff Horn a bum. Oh, Terrence Crawford beat a bum at 47. But then he gonna stop everybody else at 47. But Jeff Horn a bum. So what is everybody else? So if Jeff Horn got stopped just like everybody else did, they bums too, right? Or is it because of the name? Because what's gonna happen is it's gonna be a Jeff Horn moment for Brian Norman Jr. and he gonna stop everybody else. Because people got to realize he's getting stronger and better as each day go by. He's not out here partying. None of that. From what it looks like, he loves boxing. And he ain't in it from the fame, so if it happened, it's gonna happen. But yeah, it look like some legacy stuff going on. Chasing belts is what's going on. And he ain't too much older than Abdullah Mason either. Keyshawn older than him. So yeah. He making the moves right now. They can hype up these other people if they want to and try to say, oh, well, you know, normally they're good. I see what's going on. You can do it if you want to. It's going to be bad, bro. It's going to be bad. Because once you send one person, you better send all of them. If you got one 147 you can send, you better send all of them. Because dudes be talking. That's why I do not like people calling people out. If anybody knows me, I did not like when they was calling, they had Jerron Ennis calling out Terrence Crawford. Because I knew as soon as somebody else was going to do it, dudes was going to start crying. As soon as somebody else does it, dudes was going to start crying. And Brian Norman has a belt when he's doing it, and it's a problem. This is why I was against it. But now, when Brian Norman does it, everybody has a problem with it. Y'all notice that? Oh, well, he turned on contract. Man, please. Man, please. We got guys with their names mixed up with 4 or 5 fights that have been turned down. But people talking about Brian Norman. I don't know what the business is. Every day it's a declined fight popping out or too much money or this and this coming out. But when the real news come out, when the real facts was coming out, didn't nobody want to talk about it. After I seen that Stanionis made more money than Boots, I ain't had nothing else to say. And nobody else did either. After that, bro, I ain't even talking about no Boots and Brian Norman as far as no contract ever again in my life. I did that video before Boots even stepped in the ring with Stanionis. I said, I'm never talking about this again, ever. Them days over with. This dude, the first thing somebody say when they get mad at somebody is, I bet you won't spar me. I bet you won't step in the ring and spar me. They'll tell fans this. They'll tell anybody this. I bet you won't spar me. I bet you ain't man enough to spar me. But Brian Norman out here sparring Boots at a young age, and people out here trying to turn that into a negative. Yeah, you was getting hands put on you against Boots. What other dudes his age was trying to get better against Boots? No, that's what I'm hearing. Was it anybody else that was around that we know of that was trying to get better against Boots that's doing something in boxing right now? That's a real question because ain't nobody else gonna ask that. Is there anybody else that we know of? Because people talking about sparring all day in boxing, like that's a real thing now. As far as that's something we can keep stats of. So, is there any other boxer that's young in boxing around Brian Norman Jr.'s age that been sparring Jerron Boots Ennis multiple times that's doing something big in boxing like he has a belt? Because if somebody sit up here and say, yeah, we know a guy who got a couple of fights. Y'all just said Norman ain't doing that. You finna tell me about a dude who got a couple of fights like he's somebody? Stop it. And the dude probably 26 or something, 27. Coming out of a fighting city. A city where they got boxing gyms everywhere. You got dudes coming out of Nebraska and all kind of places. What's up, J man? What's up, dog? You got guys coming out of Nebraska and everything. People like, yeah, man. What he deserves. Tell you, they finna get exposed out here. Tell you, they finna get exposed out here, man. Ain't nobody called out Brian Norman Jr. How many days have it been? It's Sunday. So we had Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So it's been 4 days. Told y'all, man, ain't nobody gonna call this dude out. Shout out to J Man. What's going on? Ain't nobody finna call this dude out. Nobody. I'm not saying that to hype him up or anything. I'm just being real. From what I've seen, it's a lot of stuff being talked about as far as how good he is and what he hasn't done. And I wonder how long they're gonna go on and say he's not worth $2 million. To be honest with you, if a guy knocks somebody out like Stanionis got stopped in a title fight, you know, he was upgraded later on or whatever the situation was. And they gonna say he ain't worth $2 million, but they just gave Ryan Garcia $40 million to fight Haney and $20 million to fight Rolly, but you ain't got enough money for Brian Norman to fight Boots. He got to take it or leave it. Do it look like he need Boots Ennis right now? Yeah, shout out to J Man, everybody in chat too. I don't know what everybody talking about, but he don't need Boots Ennis. He gonna have a good career whether he fights Boots Ennis or not. If he keep knocking people out like that, they gonna forget about Boots Ennis. I'm gonna be real with you. No disrespect, they gonna forget about a lot of people. They gonna forget about everybody because everybody ain't punching like that. Said, hey, man, Atlanta got a real deal champ, man. He said Brian Norman is the real deal. Tank Davis said this. Watch. We gonna see the writing on the wall, bro. Writing on the wall. I already see it. At 47, the writing is definitely on the wall. If they don't do something about Brian Norman soon, he gonna be dominating every fight like this. Soon he's gonna take over as far as pay-per-views because people are gonna want to see this. And believe it or not, people can say what they want, but I'm not saying this just to say it. I know people have said Jerron Ennis is I heard people comparing like as far as him to Roy Jones or whatever. I didn't really see it as far as me personally. You know, I got a couple of comparisons as far as fighters I think people look like in the ring, but I didn't see it. But as far as what I seen from Norman, he reminded me of like George Foreman with his power. This before the fight happened. George Foreman with his power, a little bit of Zav Judah, and some Roy Jones. If you was looking at how he was throwing them punches, reminded me of Roy Jones, bro. I'm gonna be honest with you. That left hook, that was some Roy Jones stuff. Ain't nobody throwing left hooks like that besides Roy Jones. And he wasn't even balanced like that. So all his power wasn't even in the punch. It still got him up out of there. If he would have been sitting on that, man, it would have been bad. I'm telling you, a lot of boxers right now, they seen that punch. Boxers get punched every day of their life. They seen that punch he just threw Thursday, ain't nobody calling him out. They know what time it is. He says standing on his quit too. Yeah, he was done. It was a wrap for him. He did the right thing because he was already busted up. Write him off, especially after that Randall fight Uh, then they talking about the Boca Chica situation. Boca Chica got 5 straight losses. They talking about, yeah, he got dropped by Boca Chica. Boca Chica got 5 straight losses. If he's still thinking about Norman dropping him in a round or something, that's a career achievement for him then. But he got 5 straight losses though, and he lost to Quentin Randall. So yeah, he ain't got no. You said Julian Jackson with more athleticism. I can see what you're saying. I think he's a better boxer than Julian Jackson though. I think he's a technical boxer though. That's why I wouldn't say Julian Jackson. Bruh's really technical. He gonna go out there outboxing people. I know people more focused on the power right now, but he didn't really try to rush and knock Jin Suzuki out. If people noticed that, he was just letting Jin Suzuki come forward. He was on the ropes, blocking the shots. And when he was ready to catch him, he caught him. But yeah, he's a lot more better of a boxer. That's what's gonna have people surprised. It's gonna have a lot of fighters go out there, and people gonna think, well, this guy's technical. He gonna get outboxed. He gonna get outboxed. Brian Norman on a regular spar is nothing but real deal fighters. Tank Davis, De Los Santos, all these people that guys think are real deal fighters. That's who Brian Norman be sparring. Guys like that. Jaron Ennis. I don't know how him sparring Jaron Ennis started all this commotion, but could y'all imagine that? A guy sparring Jaron Ennis to get better. I always said this out of all these things. And this is how I explain the whole Jaron Ennis situation the best. How can a guy sparring Jaron Ennis at a young age? So basically, Jaron Ennis was sparring the best world champion at 147. How was that a negative, though? So we're going to call him a bum? So this dude, a world champion at 147, Jaron Ennis was sparring him. Instead of saying, yeah, Jaron Ennis was sparring the best 147 in the game. You see how he trying to get better? Yeah, that dude a bum, man. He ain't fighting nobody. Suzuki trash. Like, come on, man. They talking out the side of their neck right now. They gonna end up getting surprised though. It's gonna be another Terrence Crawford situation. Well, I bet you won't do that to Porter. I bet you won't do that to so and so, and go get everybody knocked out. Yeah, Boca Chica just be talking. He looked trash against Randall. When I seen that Randall fight, they told me everything I need to know about him. Yeah, he can definitely outbox most. I seen that. I was like, it took me a couple of fights to see it because, you know, as soon as Norman hit a couple of these guys, they start clinching and holding on to him. You know what I'm saying? They holding on to him like, you know, crazy. So you can't really see him box. But, you know, I've been saying this already. This ain't nothing. I'm telling you, go to my old videos. You can basically see it. I don't know why this knockout wasn't impressive like the Centillion knockout. I thought that knockout was crazy. That was like knockout of the year last year. You know what? I don't think people knew who Centillion was last year. So what's going to happen is Centillion's going to go on and he's going to dominate a little bit more. And you're going to see if fighters go out of their way to avoid him at 47. Then people going to realize, because you got to realize, Alexis Rocha beat Blair Cobbs, right? And then Centillion goes out there and destroys Rocha. So it's going to be a lot of people surprised by that. He's going to go out there and dominate, though, I'm telling you. But yeah, I think he definitely got hands, man. Yeah, it did. That punch placement. I was impressed by that Cuevas fight. That's when I noticed that, J-Man, I ain't gonna lie, that last fight is when I noticed that. I was like, man, he punching everywhere he want to punch. This fight, what I noticed was, when What I noticed this fight. How athletic he is, like as far as his movement, like how he turns and throws punches from different directions. I noticed that about him. But I'm telling you, man, a lot of people gonna be surprised by what he's doing in boxing though. They don't want to put respect on his name, but it's gonna happen soon. It is what it is. It's gonna definitely happen. And I'm gonna definitely keep talking about this a lot more because ain't nobody calling him out. It's a lot of people using his name for clicks and to promote and everything else, but they ain't saying nothing about making the fight happen. And we need this. It's gonna be a lot more guys like this. And I'm telling you right now, what did everybody say recently? They said what? Abdullah Mason is the next guy. Abdullah Mason is the next guy. He's the next guy. Not at 47. At 35, 40, I guess so, but at 35, at 47, nah. Like, to be honest with you, you know, a lot of these guys at 40 can come up to 47 to fight them. They ain't gonna do that either. They ain't gonna do that either. I'm telling you right now, Tank putting out a warning right now to everybody. It's not gonna go the way people think it is. It's not. It's not gonna go the way people think it is. And Tank really don't say this about fighters. So, if people think he's just talking, that's cool. Ain't no reason for him to say this. He got a lot of friends that's fighters. He don't say this about. And trust me, if anybody knows about knockouts, Tank does. So if he's impressed by a knockout and other guys who don't knock people out are not impressed, that surprises me. Dang, they all got whooped this year? Dang. Well, really, as far as on them, you know, they didn't really train Tank that much this time around. So as far as the Tank fight, I can't blame him for that. But as far as like Truck, he was already looking bad. Well, yeah, that whole situation kind of bad, bro. I ain't gonna lie, you right about that though. But I think Derrick James is still worse though. You know what I'm saying? Like, we really haven't even gotten around to the Derrick James situation yet. So that's why I really haven't focused on it more because the Derrick James situation is a lot more, I would say, serious. I think the Kenny and Calvin situation is just a lot more local, but Derrick James out here ruining careers worldwide. You know what I'm saying? He got the Spence situation, Frank Martin, Ryan. He had Joshua over there. Um, he had the Charlo situation. Just a lot of fights. He just falling flat with. You know what I'm saying? I think Derrick James is more of a situation than what Calvin and Kenny is. Because we already knew that their style was limited anyways. I didn't see much as far as with them to where they were actually good trainers as far as on the level of a Bomac. Because Bomac is, you know, he levels above, I would say, most of those guys. We seen it when he was training Eubanks. We seen it recently with Keyshawn. So with Eubank, I mean with Bomac, you know, we got evidence of that, you know, those guys getting better, but as far as American trainers, yeah, we don't got a lot of good American trainers right now. I think they get credit as far as because of locally, you know, with Tank and everybody else, they got a lot of fighters around there. But if you look at their track record, they ain't really making no splash like that. And Tank don't really got no marquee fights on his resume for me to really judge him off getting better. He getting outboxed out in most of his fights. You know what I'm saying? We was talking about that last night, but he getting outboxed in most of his fights anyway. So we can't really hang nothing on them actually being good trainers to begin with. I think most of the fame is came from the Tank situation. Not to be disrespectful, I'm just keeping it 1,000. Yeah, then was over there with Tony Harrison. Yeah, yeah, it go like that. Yeah, you know how that goes. And I was with Tony Harrison before. With Tony Harrison, what, 2 years ago? Yeah, then rocking with Jake Paul. Yeah, she was up there saying something about Clarissa Shields. I'm like, bro, come on, bro. Ain't no way you finna fight Clarissa Shields. Please quit calling her out. It's pathetic. It's really pathetic. She need to go ahead and fight Serrano or something. Yeah, if it went for Clarissa Shields, man, nobody be paying attention to women's boxing right now. I'm gonna be honest with you. All these other fighters fighting each other 2 or 3 times a year, talking about how much money they making. Man, I don't care about none of that, man. I don't care if you're a dude or a girl. I ain't counting your money. They be like, well, the girls made 7 million. That's good. I'm happy for them. When the fight gonna happen though? Like Bumgarner should have been fought one of them. People like, yeah, she was on PED. Yeah, but Ryan just fought too though. Ryan just fought. All these guys fighting still. Conor Ben just fought. They want to stick Clarissa Shields in the ring with everybody who juiced up and got extra different chromosomes and everything else. It's crazy out here. But yeah, Tank been sending out warnings to everybody in the boxing world though. I'm kind of disappointed to be honest with you because people make such a big deal about certain people getting knocked out in boxing. And I'm like, man, these dudes ain't real. It's not impressive. Y'all kind of just blowing it up for real. Then when you see somebody like Norman get a knockout, people like, man, he ain't knocked nobody out. Bro, ain't nobody knocking people out like that. You can go find knockouts on the internet, YouTube, whatever. You can find knockouts with dudes not even looking. Guys getting sucker punched still can't knock nobody out like that. You doing it with some gloves on, and people not impressed. But they were just saying they wanted to see knockouts and excitement. I don't believe people when they say that, bro. Can we say right now that this moment proves that people saying they want to see excitement and knockouts and action and fights really don't matter? Because as soon as that happens, people say, what about a resume though? I mean, he's a champion. At this point, you're a champion, right? It can go all kind of ways. We got guys who are champion, they got ugly wins. What's up, Native Wild Man? What's going on? Yeah, we got champions that got ugly wins. So I'm telling y'all, it's gonna backfire, man, on a lot of people. This dude ain't who they think he is. Everybody else on the internet trying to promote fights and everything else, he ain't got to do all that. They can't make up for as far as knockout. It's not a lot of excitement inside the ring, so outside the ring, we got to build up. He said Jen was number 2 and called out Norman out the old fashioned samurai way. These fans ain't in tune. Exactly, they ain't in tune, bro. They ain't in tune. They ain't in tune. I'm kind of disappointed too because I got a lot of fighters I like. And shout out to you then, man, cooking up breakfast. Yeah, man, I got a lot of fighters I like at 140, 47. And I know Norman finna punk a lot of these dudes. So I'm kind of like just preparing for it. But He finna punk a lot of guys. I'm telling you, everybody can't talk like Ali, bro. At a certain point, you're gonna be doing that, and you're gonna be fighting on the undercard, and it's gonna look crazy. That's why it never works. Everybody try to Ric Flair and you know do the whole Ali thing, but when you fight on the undercard and you like, yeah, I'm talking like that, it look crazy. And that's what a lot of these guys gonna end up doing. They're gonna end up saying, barking at each other on the undercard. Because if this guy keeps knocking people out, he gonna be fighting main events. If Turkey ain't gonna have no knockouts like this in Riyadh season, I'm gonna be trying to figure out when Norman fighting. I bet the next time he fight, people gonna tune in. All these guys that's talking, they gonna tune in. They gonna have a pre-fight, a post-fight, a next fight, and everything else because they already know it's gonna be a knockout coming. We didn't gave these other boxers like 5 years to do what Norman doing right now. They didn't fought no names and big names, and still ain't seen a knockout like this. Still haven't seen a knockout like this. When are people gonna learn, bro? They just contradict themselves all the time. Then you got people that's fans of Wilder. They'll be out here saying, "Oh man, look, the dude Norman can't box like that." What that mean, bro? Y'all keep saying that. If you can get a guy up out of there, that means you can box. The point of boxing is to get people up out of there. It ain't the point of boxing is not to go 12 rounds. That's not the point of boxing. If you can hit a home run, why would you try to walk around the base or get a hit and have to steal and do all the extra stuff? They pay the guys who get home runs the big bucks. People don't go to baseball fields to catch foul balls. They go there to catch home runs. Yeah, 3 monster KOs in a row. This dude knocking out people ain't never lost before. The same Alexis Rocha that went out there and beat the brakes off Blair Cobbs got the brakes beat off of him by Centillion. And now when Norman fights Centillion, oh man, he ain't nobody. But people don't even probably know who Centillion Alexis Rocha is, so that makes sense. It is what it is. It is what it is. I bet Rolly won't fight him. Centillion just called out Rolly. So the guy that Brian Norman Jr. fought last year that he knocked out, he wants to fight Rolly Romero. That should be an easy layup for Rolly. The way people talking, but it's not. He said KOs only matter for Tank. When Wilder was running boxing, fans said we're tired of knockouts. Wilder ain't a pure boxer. Yeah, and then they want to tune in this week. It'd be crazy how everybody find out when Wilder fighting too. These people out here psychic. They like the Oracle out the Matrix. As soon as Wilder got a fight coming up, they're like, yeah, it's Wilder fight week. I'm like, oh my God, Brian. I done forgot Wilder fighting this week. You got all kind of articles popping up. Telling you, man. That man be out here feeding families out here. He ain't even got a box. Still out here feeding families. People he don't even know. And Norman about to be the same way. I'm gonna tell you right now, if dudes don't think Norman's that good, I want them to talk about Norman like he's Blair Cobbs or something. I don't want them to, but if you got that energy about him, then just don't talk about it. Just do like everybody do with Blair Cobbs. Ain't nobody talking about Blair Cobbs right now, right? Because I already see what people gonna do. They gonna try to be like, yeah, man, he ain't knocking people out like that. that dude was a bum. We're gonna find out then. In boxing these days, it ain't a lot of bums walking around. Yeah, they most hypocritical, man. I'm talking about J Man, it's so bad this year because they getting caught up on so many lies. That's why it's bad. You know, J Man, they never thought a turkey out of sheep would show up and expose them in 6 months. Now everybody trying to run around and talk about how everybody trash. They like, if my fighter trash, everybody trash. You know, stuff like that. We got people scared to talk about Tank Davis still now after the Lamont Roach fight. So we know what time it is. You got people like, man, yeah, who Haney gonna fight? Is he gonna fight Norman? Who he gonna fight? Out of all the boxers we can find out who fighting right now, these dudes is breaking their neck to find out who Haney fight. Now they breaking their neck to see who Norman fight. You see how the young guys just take over without even the guys who don't even talk that much. Everybody else on Twitter that talk all day, it ain't working, man. You got to fight in the ring, bro. I'm gonna be real with y'all. It's all good. I know they got Twitter and everything in this generation, but to actually be the guy, you actually got to fight somebody consistently. You can't fool the fans, bro. Even the haters, you can't fool them. Even the haters is tuning in to watch Brian Norman 7 o'clock in the morning. Now, mind you, they said Brian Norman ain't fought nobody, but these dudes is waking up 7 o'clock in the morning to watch him fight. About to be late for work and everything. I ain't never watched. Trust me, they ain't even tuned in to watch anyway like that. Y'all notice that? These dudes tuned in to watch Norman at 7 o'clock in the morning. And most of these guys have never watched anyway fight in the morning ever in their life. So I ain't even gotta say, man, I hope Norman a star. He's already a star in boxing. He's a star. He's a superstar. He had men across the country that do not like him tuning in 7 o'clock in the morning to watch him fight on the way to work. Yeah, that's probably the most iconic knockout. That's a fact. And he was a knockout artist. Yeah, that's probably number one. He right about that one. I ain't even thinking about that. That man had everybody up 7 o'clock in the morning, bro. To be honest with you, he already made it. Cause most of these boxers can't do that. To be honest with you, when they have football games on at 7 o'clock in the morning, people still they don't even tune into that. They had NFL football on 7 o'clock in the morning. People don't watch that. But to watch Brian Norman Jr. at 7 o'clock in the morning, they know he's a good fighter already. They know he's a beast right now. They know he's the truth right now. Right now, you can't name 5 fighters right now in America that people will wake up 7 o'clock in the morning and watch. We know this. To be honest with you, if a guy fighting on the prelims, they won't even watch it. Forget about the morning. If you fighting on the prelims, they ain't even finna watch you. So yeah, he's already a star, man. They already know what time it is. They know he's a threat. Everything they saying sound good. But and I'm a fan of Boots Ennis. I know what time it is with Boots, but you also gotta know for anybody to sit up here and discredit a sparring partner of Boots Ennis, if Boots Ennis is sparring, if he's sparring world champions, the youngest world champion in boxing right now, how was that a negative? So you already know people is hating to do that. That's like me saying, man, I was sparring a world champion, bro. Yeah, he was trash though. Come on, man. Like, are we serious? That don't even make sense. Yeah, 7 a.m. they had Thursday, Juneteenth. It was last Thursday. The fight came on. Oh, you missed the knockout. You definitely got to see it. Yeah, wow, man. If you didn't see the knockout, you definitely got to check it out. But yeah, man, they definitely got to give Brian Norman some credit because I'm going to be honest with you. The more credit they don't give him, it's going to make everybody else look trash. They're going to do the same thing they did with the Earl Spence situation when everybody was like, well, you know, he ain't Terrence Crawford ain't fight this guy. You know, Crawford ain't fight. He ain't fought nobody at 47. You know, people was just saying that last year. Crawford ain't fought nobody. So yeah, they're gonna walk that narrative till it's dead. And yeah, that was definitely a narrative. That's why I ain't talking about the Crawford and Canelo thing in a while, because I'm like, bro, let me let y'all get y'all answers together first. Because from week to week, people are switching. So I'm like, let me go ahead and let y'all get straight first and figure out what y'all gonna say then. Because Deuce is going for, man, he too small. Man, he might knock him out. Oh, man, let me let you figure that out real quick. I'm gonna be right back. Yeah, he pissed Bud off bad too, bro. Trolling him. Yeah, when he did that, J-Man, facts. When the Canelo was trolling Terrence Crawford, you're a regular boxer. You like regular boxer. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, that was the wrong thing he said to Terrence Crawford. It was like Terrence Crawford was so mad. He almost wanted to push him. Yeah, Canelo was tripping. I would say Canelo was actually showing out for the crowd a little bit because he don't usually go that far. And you know, Crawford wasn't saying much. He wasn't really going at Canelo. Canelo kind of took the first jab at him as far as saying he was a regular boxer. Yeah, I had Crawford by points. Yeah, I don't think if he knocks out Canelo, bro, it's over. Canelo just said recently that he thinks Crawford better than Floyd Mayweather though. On paper, a lot of people might be mad, but on paper, they can say what they want, but he's knocking people out though. Everything people said they wanted to see Floyd do, Terrence Crawford does. And that's a fact. So really, these people is hypocrites, like J-Man said. They said, man, Floyd don't be knocking people out. Terrence Crawford knocks people out. He don't do it perfect enough. I don't know what the problem is. But yeah, he does everything they want Floyd to do. Then he fights Southpaw and Orthodox. He said Floyd is better. We gonna see when September come. If Terrence Crawford go out there and stop Canelo, Floyd ain't better than Terrence Crawford. If he goes out there and stops Canelo, Canelo has never been stopped. Even if he drops Canelo, I might think about it. I watched Floyd a long time. When Floyd's been in certain fights with certain guys, he ain't look spectacular. Like against Zab Judas, Floyd didn't look spectacular. He didn't look spectacular in the Zab fight. In the Cotto fight, he was decent, but I seen he was slipping. Yeah, I've seen Terrence. We're talking about Terrence Crawford. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. We're talking about Terrence Crawford possibly stopping Canelo Alvarez, bro. If Terrence Crawford stops Canelo Alvarez, it's not even gonna be a conversation. Floyd ain't never doing nothing like that. Stopping Canelo or anybody like Canelo. And we gotta look at the people that Terrence Crawford has knocked out. He's knocked out people that's never been knocked out before. That's why people say, "Oh, Earl Spence is done or whatever." He only been knocked out one time, bro. But I mean, they so judgmental of Terrence Crawford. He can't knock out a guy one time without the guy being a bum. So that's why Terrence Crawford's resume doesn't look as good compared to Floyd Mayweather because some people have made his wins look so trashy. But they just stuck Sean. Well, they sticking Sean Porter in the Hall of Fame, right? But they said 2 years ago how he's trash or whatever, or how he quit in the Terrence Crawford fight. I'm like, he quit. Yeah, his dad throwing the towel. Yeah, to save his life. That's why. That's why he threw in the towel. Yeah, that's why he threw in the towel. Well, yeah, I just think Terrence Crawford at this, if Floyd was knocking out guys at 35, 36, 37, I wouldn't question it. But even a guy like Usyk, he's not doing that. Let's just keep it a buck. Even Usyk is not doing that. Yeah, that's definitely because people will compare Usyk to Crawford and things like that, but I haven't even thought about it till just now. But even Usyk isn't. That's how I don't even think about knockouts. But even Usyk, I just thought about it just now. He ain't knocking guys out like that. People will say, "Well, he moved up." Man, Usyk bigger than Wilder. He's supposed to move up. But yeah, the only thing I ain't like recently was Ring Magazine putting Terrence Crawford number 3 or number 4 under anyway. I'm like, they tripping. Yeah, and Gamboa gave Tank that work too. If Gamboa would have been healthy, he would have beat Tank. That would have been Tank's first loss. People ain't noticed that, but Gamboa was done. But yeah, right now I would say Floyd is still considered better than Terrence Crawford because the way Floyd fought Maidana and Canelo, just that little run he had at the end, that kind of stamped his legacy. Because a lot of people felt like he was done and he was gonna fall off the cliff at that point there. So yeah, I definitely understand what Wild Man saying. I'll definitely because I ain't gonna lie, I've been wanting to put Terrence Crawford number 1. I'm like, hey, bro, forget what everybody's saying. But yeah, I still got Floyd over Terrence Crawford right now. But yeah, this fight right here is definitely gonna validate Terrence Crawford all the way. And it's a huge fight too in boxing. I don't know if we're gonna have another one like this soon. Because they building up so many fights right now. They might not have the hype behind it like this Canelo and Crawford fight. We see how fast the buzz went away for Devin Haney versus Ryan Garcia. So yeah, we better enjoy this one. Yeah, Gamboa was a beast at his highest level around that time too. I'm still surprised that Maidana didn't turn around and try to fight Canelo. I always wonder why that fight didn't happen. Pacquiao Canelo. I guess Pacquiao thought Canelo was too big around that time. But shoot, he fought Floyd. Yeah, Manny was talking crazy recently, Native Wild man, talking about Floyd was running and everything else, complaining about Floyd's style or whatever. making himself look bad, look like a sore loser for real. I was gonna put out a video recently, but well, I'm gonna go ahead and say it now. Y'all can Google this. Y'all can Google this. I'm gonna tell you this right quick. Manny Pacquiao. He blamed losing the fight on his socks. He said he lost a fight because of some socks. Some socks was like hurting his feet or whatever. I don't know if it caused blisters or something. He said as far as socks. This was like 2004, 2005. Before he started calling out Mayweather, he lost a fight, and he blamed it on his socks. Manny Pacquiao. So when they be talking about Deontay Wilder, they be like, "Oh, he said he had a heavy suit on." Manny Pacquiao blamed losing on a pair of socks. Y'all can Google it right now if you think I'm lying. Type in Manny Pacquiao lost socks. Dude said he lost because of a pair of socks. The excuses he makes make him look terrible. I'm gonna do a live about it soon. I ain't gonna harp on it too much, but I'm gonna do a live soon, bro. I'm gonna start talking about all these excuses these guys be making. Manny Pacquiao said he lost because of socks. Tim Bradley said he broke his foot because of he ain't had no socks on because Mike Tyson ain't wear socks. Yeah, me is J man. Enjoy these fights, but yeah, it's like, come on, man. I don't think he still is as manufactured as an Inoue. I say he got it out the mud a little bit more than Inoue did. They be acting like Inoue better than Pacquiao, bro. That's the only reason I be giving him a little respect. I'm like, hold on, man. They acting like Inoue the next Pacquiao. Let's chill out on that now. But yeah, man, that's why AB losing to him and Keith Thurman. I'm like, and those two guys who wanted to fight Floyd ended up getting a chance to fight Pacquiao and took a bad L. That's so sad, bro. I was hoping AB would have got Pacquiao. He lost. Keith Thurman, he lost. I'm like, these dudes trying to fight Floyd Mayweather. And Floyd was right. Should have never fought him. It would have been embarrassing. They would have just went out there and got embarrassed for a check. For no reason. Yeah, that would have been embarrassing for Keith Thurman now. That's why after that I was like, yep, I guess Earl Spence was right. Not even to fight him because that was a waste of time. That was a whole waste of time, man. He said who's gonna be the next Larry Holmes? I don't know if we got a next Larry Holmes right now. I had to think about that. I don't see nobody punching like that right now. Shoot, if Norman keep fighting like this, he gonna be like Larry Holmes. Bro, gonna be like all the old school fighters. Man, this dude knocked out Sasaki the way he did, man. I don't know how people discredit that. I'm just so surprised, bro. I really am. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I know boxing people say crazy stuff. You know, people have their favorite fighters or whatever, but if you don't like this, bro, I don't want to hear about no excitement no more in action in boxing. We heard about that stuff already. Like J Man said, they've said stuff about that already. Man, we don't want to hear about that kind of stuff no more, man. Yeah, Larry Holmes got the best jab ever. That's why I hope Wilder get a knockout this Thursday. We definitely gonna watch that fight too, man. Everybody tune in. We definitely gonna watch the fight. We're gonna talk about a lot more of those fights coming up this weekend. tomorrow. But I don't want everybody to overlook this. What Tank Davis said, bro. I'm telling you. What Tank Davis saying this about Brian Norman Jr. He knows that it's a lot of people out here that don't want this fight between Norman and Boots and other guys to happen. Just because Norman's gonna look good regardless. In a win, a loss, the way he fights, he's gonna look good. We've seen Hearns and Hagler fight. You know, somebody had to lose, right? But after a while, this new generation, they don't know who won the fights. They just know they had good fights. Look how George Foreman bounced back after he lost to Ali. It happens. It definitely happens. But I think in this situation, they're making a huge mistake, man. And I'm glad they are, because what they are going to do, they are going to put names up against Norman. This guy, well, it's not a lot of names coming out right now. I'm going to be honest with you. I ain't heard nobody calling out no names besides Haney as far as for Norman. I ain't heard no names. I heard people saying he need to go to 54. He need to go to 54. If that's the case, Boots should have went to 54 last year then. When Terrence Crawford went to 54, Boots should have went to 54. If that's the case, ain't nobody chasing no another fighter to another weight class like Dave Morrell did. Yeah, I definitely want Wilder to get the KO. Yeah, man. It would have been good if you would have went to the fight though. That man out there fighting in Kansas. Yeah, fighting in Kansas, that would have been crazy. Yeah, anybody who got an opportunity to go to that fight, definitely go. Cause he definitely gonna get a knockout. Wilder knocking out. He knocking off heads, off shoulders, bro. He look like he's locked in too. I'm gonna be honest with you. He look like he's locked in. He got his mind straight. Not really focused on outside noise. So yeah, I think he gonna step in and really do some damage. But yeah, I appreciate everybody for coming through, man. I'm gonna holler at you guys later on. Appreciate Wild Man, J Man for coming through. Everybody for coming through the live. I'm talking to you guys later on, man. I appreciate everybody for coming through though.